Hey guys, and welcome back to the channel. More Newcastle United news, and in this case, despite the fact it's October, Newcastle United transfer news, we've got that as well today. So welcome back. We have just came off the bounce of a huge week for Newcastle. Good draw against Man U, wins against Everton, and a win at Tottenham away. I don't think many people saw that one coming. So probably the best stint of Eddie Howe's time so far at Newcastle. He's came out in the press conference after the Tottenham game and said that was the best performance of his time at the club. So as far as Newcastle goes, we are really hitting that pinnacle level. But in order to continue having a great season, it depends on the window as well in January. I think the squad depth could still be an issue for when key players get injured. So it's important for Newcastle to utilise that area, and well, it looks like they're already doing so from the news we've heard this morning. But anyway guys, if you're new, make sure I get down there, hit that subscribe button, join the journey when Newcastle news comes out. I'll be at every single game this season, including the one in Saudi Arabia. And if you also enjoyed this video, make sure to get down there, smash the like button, and finally, question of the day. What do you think about this potential new signing? We'll get into all the details about him shortly, but I mean, this kid was born in December of 2004. Wow, I feel old. But anyway though, without further ado, let's get into all the news. Before we can talk about any new players coming through the door, it's important to get out our current squad first, and in this case, the two injured players in Alan St-Maximin and Alexander Isak. When can fans expect those two to return? So one thing I think it's good to get out of the way first is just how Newcastle is still winning games without two key attacking players. I know I've been talking about how squad depth was an issue before, but that's when likes of Nick, Pope, Bruno, Trippier, these players get injured. That's when you've got some really big concerns. But at the minute though, we've still got a big enough squad to grind out results, and the fact we're fourth in the Premier League table is just incredible. But as for those two players, we'll get Isak out of the way first. He is not expected to return until after the World Cup. Maybe he might make the game in Saudi Arabia, but he won't make any of the remaining 4 games before that time. So completely rule out Isak, he will not be back. Now St-Maximin, he's expected to be short term. It was dealt as a big issue at first because he missed that week that we just passed now with the 3 games in 1 week. But now that we're past those games, he is expected to return before the end of the first half of the season, unless he picks someone else up. Now after his Wolves injury, he was only meant to be out for a couple of weeks, but then he had a little bit of a setback, so he was out an extra couple of weeks. So chances are, especially with his sort of injury, someone else could pop up and you might just miss a few weeks in general. But again, no, I think towards the Southampton away and Chelsea at home, I think those two he could potentially make a return for, but maybe Eddie Howe just rests him out entirely, because the thing with St-Maximin as well is that it's quite harsh dropping someone from the squad because everyone's playing so well. So if he was to return, Eddie Howe will probably bench him and then potentially bring him on as a super sub if needed. So again, there's not so much of an issue at the minute because we're playing that well. We don't really need them at this moment in time, but let's not get ahead of ourselves. It's one step at a time. And finally, before we get into the transfer news, I want to show you guys this crazy stat from 2022. So as you can see on the screen now, Newcastle United have accumulated more points this calendar year than both Chelsea and Manchester United. And when you think about it, the billions that those two have spent on players, on recruitment, just around the club, we shouldn't be competing with those two teams at this moment in time. It shouldn't be possible. We haven't spent enough money. With all due respect, we're not a big enough club compared to those two at this moment in time. But the fact that we have got more points in both of those across a full year, you're not going to fluke a full year, aren't you? So the fact we're in this level now, it is astonishing. And it's only going to get better and better, you would think, over the next few years with Newcastle's investment and long-term planning. And it just shows how good Eddie Howe actually is as a manager. Now, you might have seen the news yesterday that the manager at Newcastle officially went in for before Eddie Howe, Unai Emery, has went to Aston Villa. This doesn't concern us this weekend because in his contract he joins on the 1st of November, so he won't be with the squad at all until after the Newcastle game. But the reason why I'm bringing this up now is because, well, would he have done what Eddie Howe did on the Newcastle? I don't actually know. Like, is it even possible for Eddie or our manager to get Newcastle to this stage? It's just astonishing. So, yeah, I thought that would excite you guys, just how good that stat really is. It just make you quite proud of this club. So yeah, so far so good since the takeover, but a long way to go before we can get to the levels that the club wants to get to. Anyway, onto the transfer news now. The current Santos 17-year-old winger, Angelo Gabriel. So according to several reports in the media, Newcastle have lodged a bid of €25 million for the 17-year-old born in December of 2004. Ooh, 2004. And he's upwards of 25 to 30 million euros, his value recorded by Santos. So it's important to know straight away that he's actually played 92 professional games for Santos. So this isn't somebody that's just came fresh off the team. This is somebody that's been around Santos for a while, despite his age. And he's somebody that can also play on the wing. Now, this is a problem that I thought Newcastle had in the summer, because we didn't buy anyone to go on the sides. And due to the stats last season, we didn't have any designated goal scorers there. But Almiron has stepped up. And to be fair to Murphy, so I know people slag him off, but I think he's put a good shift in when he has to. But I think Almiron's the big one, though. 6 goals in 12 games. Yeah, I expect him to hit double figures this season, which I think is a ridiculously good return for him. So back on topic to the Brazilian superstar now. So some reports in Brazil are claiming that the €25 million bid for Newcastle has been accepted by Santos, and the player will join the club in January. Now, not everywhere has said this has been true, by the way. So pretty much all the reports out there have said that the bid has definitely been put in, but with some of them going that extra bit further and saying it's been accepted. Now, obviously, take it with a pinch of salt, and no matter what the truth is, at least we know the bid's been put in. And it's very interesting, because I always think that's one big question for Newcastle when this window opens. How much would the club spend? Because at this current time, once the games are done, you would think Newcastle will still be in the top 6 or around it, no matter what the results are. So how far would the club push in the January window? Will we spend loads and make sure we can finish in a high position, or will we slow it down and trust in Eddie Howe and have the squad, we'll keep a hold of the squad we have? I'm intrigued to see what the club actually does. But yeah, that's one thing I would ask you guys, by the way. Put down in the comment section, how much do you think Newcastle will spend in January? And I think that Angelo Gabriel as well, this is also quite a good example. So Kieran Trippier last January transfer window, he signed within the first couple of days. So it heavily suggests that behind the scenes, the club would have spoke to Trippier way in advance. And just before the window opens, we are almost planting the seeds for these players to join. It sounds like obvious business, but we didn't have this under the previous ownership, where we plan ahead. We speak to players in advance. We have a clear structure and how we want to go ahead of things. And we just plant the seeds now, so when the window opens, it's much easier to sign players. And this is something you should expect the club to do quite a bit. Once the games are done, I'll make a video where I talk through what players we could potentially sign, because the list is going to be huge because of where Newcastle are going to be by the time the window starts. It puts us in a good position, because when the window opens, we'll be in a European position, so players will be more enticed to join the club, because we can say, well, join the club, we'll finish in the top 8, you'll be playing European football next season. That's going to be a big pull factor for players joining. It doesn't sound great that players are only going to come for money or only going to come for European football, but unfortunately at times that's what some players are like. But as long as they see the project, they're willing to stay long term, and they want what's best for the club, then I personally don't have an issue with that sort of mindset. But yeah, in terms of this signing though, once more news comes out, we get into it. But really positive stuff from Newcastle already. It's not even November, never mind December, we've already tried to bring players in for the first team once that window opens. So it's really positive stuff from Newcastle, and I'm looking forward to see how this deal transpires. Well, I hope you guys have enjoyed watching the video today. Let me know down in the comment section your thoughts on this potential incoming signing. I'm not going to lie, I've never watched a player before. I'm not a Brazilian league expert. I couldn't sit here and just waffle on all day how good or how bad this player is, because I've never watched him play before. So in my own time, I'll go away and I'll come back and I'll make sure I got all my knowledge chalked up on him. But yeah, as for the week ahead now, just look forward to the Aston Villa game, because we are a team that's on the up. We're currently sitting in the top 4, and this team is wanting to prove themselves, wanting to prove that we can compete with the best and we can be the best. So yeah, I'm really looking forward to the rest of this first half of the season now. And when we come back at the end of December, what I'm saying is I'm excited. And I can't wait to see what players we sign once that January transfer window opens. But anyway guys, thank you all for watching, and I will see you all in the next one.